Hey, how's it going? This video is different than our usual uploads. It's been over 2 years since I started this channel with two of my closest friends. Over 2 years since COVID, in an ironic twist, ended up reuniting us and deepening our friendships. Over 2 years since some creative cabin fever inspired us to get off our asses and actually make what we always talked about making. I thought it'd be fun to change the pace of the channel just for today and talk with you, our audience, about how Agalamau got to where it's at. For each of the 44 videos we've uploaded, I'll be sharing my thoughts from my perspective as the channel's lead. The rest of the crew will also share their thoughts about the videos they worked on. Along the way, there will be extra shorts, outtakes from past uploads, discussions about topics central to Agalamau, and whatever the hell this is. So pull up a chair and grab some refreshments, because this is the director. And I'm coming to you from a disclosed time in the past, when Agalamau's first video was 28 months old.
You'll say our pizza is the mosta. Try some now at the refreshment center.
The video that started everything. It was a long time coming because I wanted the first video to reflect what the channel would grow into. Years later, I wanted to be able to look back at the first video and go, yeah, this is still Agalamau, this is still good. And that's a really high bar. But I knew if I half-assed it, I'd never forgive myself. Right off the bat, the titular stick whacks you with an aesthetic that still pillows the channel. We have a weird scene that poses a lot of questions. Why is the pizza on a stick? Where are we? Why does it look so gross, even through the noise? The shot's got angles, it's got texture. It's interesting to look at, and it leads your eyes around the scene. There are also audio collage elements. Collage has always been something I've been passionate about. When I was little, I cut out pictures from magazines. When I was 10, the thing I wanted most was to make YouTube poop, I kid you not. Then I was a teenager listening to Plunderphonics and sample-heavy hip-hop and vaporwave. It's always been there. And I knew that for me to be happy and creatively fulfilled, I'd need to feature all of those kinds of collage on Agalamau. Pizza on a Stick really only features audio collage, but the anachronism is in full swing, amplifying the questions without offering answers. That's still part of the channel's mission statement, and it's great to see it established here. The Agalamau ending screen was also first seen here. Talk about continuity. The only thing that's changed about this sequence, besides me making a version with the newer, higher fidelity birds, is that the text scroll fades in letter by letter nowadays. I even made the birds a different color than the channel logo, another design theme that we'll see repeated in many later videos, including this one. The main thing I'd change is the aspect ratio. Pizza on a Stick is 1080 by 1080 rather than the correct 4:3 ratio of 1440 by 1080. But what's the first video without a big mistake? I'm proud of Pizza on a Stick. It's at once a benchmark for future videos and a watermark for my past work. Who could ask for more from their first video? Before you hear from the rest of the crew, I want to clarify who everybody is. I'm the lead. I write every video, shoot every shot, make every effect, draw every design, all that. Basically, if it's not acting, composing original music, or making vocal filters and other audio effects, I do it. I want to give credit clearly where it's due, so for any video featuring the rest of the crew's talents, I'll mention how they contributed. If a video lacks any commentary about what they did, it was a solo project. The two dear friends and other founding members whom you're about to meet are Actor 1 and the Sound Guy. Actor 1 has lent his voice talents to numerous videos, and of course, he plays the one and only reporter with a focus and force that have come to define the character. Multi-talented, he has also composed music for a few videos. The Sound Guy has composed music, developed vocal filters or sounds, and even provided voice acting to many of our videos. Although his humility would have you believe otherwise, his imaginative compositions and intense audio effects, including the reporter's vocal effect, are integral to Agalamau's identity. Later, you'll meet Actor 2, the secretary, and the animator. They're newer recruits, but no less cherished. Actor 2 plays the forecaster with an unnerving genteelness none other could muster. The flair he adds to the character dissuaded any doubts I had about adding another face so soon. The secretary doesn't actually do any secretarial work, but he does help with moving and holding props. Think of him as Agalamau's best boy. Finally, and most recently, the animator has lent her talents for drawing the little fellows Agalamau loves. Her concise line art and smooth animation add an expertise heretofore missing from the channel, and she also voiced this guy. While she could not make it for the round table with the rest of the crew, she'll still be sharing her thoughts on a few videos.
Hello?
Can you hear everything I'm saying from back here?
Yes, you sound like a little gnome.
I'm a little gnome and I'm here to steal you. I'm trying to take
So this
your
is
gold.
fine. This is fine. Like, this is more than fine? Like, how fine is this on a scale from, like, 1 to fine?
1 to fine?
1 to fine. It's a scale from 1 to fine. You go from 1 to go to fine.
I'm going to turn the gain up a little bit.
I'm going to gain it up a little turn.
To be or not to be.
That is the question.
Buzz. 5 guys, except there's no burgers here.
fries.
5 men,
That's the dream.
except for there's no burgers here.
16
None of them will be
Cowboys.
made.
In the shower?
Have you ever been to
guys, like, sit
Subway
back with
before? Why are you laughing? I can
I can
hear.
hear you in the mic from back here.
Have you ever been to Subway and they put it in the oven and the bread
are you
gets
saying that I can-
toasted?
Yeah, you're fine.
And whenever
I
the
can talk
cheese
to you.
melts. I don't know. I remember we were gonna do like the run up thing. I remember we were gonna do like we were gonna run up. In the background have like little footsteps. We didn't end up doing that. It was just like a day where we burned a bunch of stuff. And then, we had pizza, and then we held it over the fire, and there were plastics in the fire, and they, melded with the pizza, and it looked really gross.
Do you remember how the fire turned green?
I
Like
don't.
after the fact? No?
I don't. I feel like you're making that up.
No, we're showing a clip right now that shows the green fire.
I don't think you are. I don't see it. So
One thing I realized when putting together the footage for episode 3 is that we kind of returned to that initial idea.
yeah.
Even in that very first video of like the run up and that sort of unseen horror. Do you feel like Pizza on a Stick set that sort of standard for the channel?
I do kind of. It's like, why? It's not really like a question of like, oh, what's happening in front of me. It's kind of like why is it happening? You're more scared of like the motivations for all of this like stuff happening in this world rather than like what is actually happening.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it.
That's the issue with all performance art. It's like, why is that guy doing that? Every performance art. Everything.
Compared to all the planning and forethought that went into Pizza on a Stick, Wind Up Comedians was fished out of the dumpster. I was trying to maintain a weekly upload schedule from the beginning. That weekly deadline was rolling around and I was panicked. I took an audio recording from a couple of weeks before and repurposed it into a video. The recording featured the sound guy, Actor 1, and me goofing around and experimenting with filters in FL Studio. Our voices sounded robotic, and I wanted visuals to match. I used some old photos I took in 2015, way back when I was first starting to get serious about photography. I was experimenting with depth of field, and I had a photo shoot with the robots posed on different trees. The key takeaway from Wind Up Comedians is that it establishes a stylistic cornerstone of Agalamo, the dialogue video. A video featuring 2 weird characters talking with each other in a weird way. My thoughts on the quality of the video are not so positive. I think the font I chose looks goofy, and the weird crossfade effect, while dreamy, could have used more frames. The pacing is off in general, and the voices could have been mastered better too. On the bright side, Wind Up Comedians taught me not to overuse the dip from white, dip to black combo.
We were just messing around with that flanger. That was fun.
I don't know. It was a really simple kind of concept. I don't even think we really knew what we were doing at that point. And it was just like messing around with the new stuff that we got, kind of trying to figure out where we were going with whatever we were actually doing. Because I barely, that was around the time that we were doing the album.
Do you think it aged well? Not really.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
It needs to stay though.
Well, I'm not saying like that, but I am saying like unless I'm watching the whole catalog back, it is kind of like, oh man, did we really?
Some of it's like, what the fuck is that noise and how did I make that?
No, seriously, that's like half of the fucking videos up right now.
Yeah.
But okay, I think Wind Up Comedians has a certain feeling to it. It feels happy.
It's another eye-opening episode of The Watcher.
Speaking of rushed, it's Ominous Orb. This is the first of 6 videos that have been unlisted and are only watchable through the Gallimau free playlist. Part of me wonders if, despite workshopping Pizza on a Stick for so long, I started the channel too early. That first video was as polished as I could have made it at the time, yes, but I had nothing else prepared. There was no strategy, no videos waiting to be uploaded. I and the rest of the team had a ton of ideas about what we might do, what we wanted to do, but very little was concrete, and what wasn't done yet. This is the only video on a Gallimau that I had nearly no hand in. Actor 1 filmed it while the sound guy improvised on a cheap Yamaha we had for practicing. I've considered unlisting certain videos for a long time, some as soon as they were published, this video included. I wanted to unlist anything I wasn't proud of. Many videos on the channel were rushed in some way, but when their rushed creation compromised quality, it made me unhappy. Although such videos are not failures, they don't fit the channel anymore. But Keeping them around reminds me of the weeks or even months of unrelenting creator's block that could only have been broken by empty fun. Something throwaway. Keeping them keeps the channel honest. That's important to us. One of my main goals when starting the channel was to inspire others to start creating too. If you can see those videos which we're not so proud of, I think you can see that we're real people. When you look at an established channel with a huge catalog, well-written stories, crazy effects, it can be inspiring, but I think it can also be discouraging. It can make you wonder how you could ever get to that point. I never wanted to do that to people. I want a Galamao to be a beacon for budding creators. If you're always waiting to be at that next step, always waiting for everything to be just right, you're never going to make anything. It's okay to just try stuff for fun and figure out what works. So, I made the Galamao as a compromise. That way the stinkers aren't front and center, but they're also not gone for good. Because the playlist goes from first to last, it offers the truest story of a Galamao.
I don't have anything for Ominous Orb.
Fuck Ominous Orb.
It sure did happen.
It definitely did.
It did
That's the
happen.
one that aged the worst.
Okay, but the keyboard solo from Actor 1 and the sound guy.
I don't even think it was from Actor 1. Actor 1 didn't do shit.
Oh, I thought you were hitting the keys with the
I sat there with the camera. You did absolutely nothing.
That's true.
I think you uploaded that unedited.
I did.
You did the thumbnail.
Well, I did cut the length actually.
Cut the
Sometimes you gotta circumcise your videos.
He's a lone, angry fighter who's kept so much inside. Silently he works out in a back alley street.
Popcorn, salt, and oil, and everything in it.
If Pizza on a Stick was iconic for establishing the more cerebral parts of a Galamao's identity, then this video is the comedic keystone. I started editing videos back in 2017. I was using a crappy freeware editor just to get the basics down. Once I got more serious and graduated to Premiere, I had built up a fair collection of simple edits. Of all these practice videos, Popcorn Rock was the best. In a moment of pragmatism not unlike that which spawned Wind-Up Comedians, I decided to remake Popcorn Rock and publish it because I knew I could do so quickly. Shout out to Noodles, the band which I sampled this video's audio from. Misheard lyrics type stuff can be mean-spirited, but I mean them only respect. This is the only time we've used a band's music in a video. All the rest that aren't original compositions or arrangements are from video games or old commercials. Popcorn Rock is simple and funny. Really, the only thing I'd change is the text. The scrolling fade-in is awkward on such a short video. I tried to use that effect a lot in early videos, and it usually failed. But I did find a lasting use for it in the current Galamao ending card. Every failure is constructive if you're persistent enough.
I want to be a cowboy, baby. Stay tuned for the future.
The title hints at this, but you might be surprised to learn that this was filmed after the first episode of Galamao. Technically. When we first filmed episode 1 of Galamao, we also filmed 5 more episodes at the same time. All this footage had to be scrapped. The overcast made the colors way too muted for the first episode. The weather being the same for each of these episodes would have snapped immersion in half, too. The biggest problem, though, was that I hadn't written any scripts for these episodes. We were just guessing at what the topics would be. In hindsight, of course such shotgun filming wouldn't work. We had a vague idea of what a Galamao would be like, brainstorming such initially helpful but ultimately limiting elevator pitches as analog surrealism. But given the dubbing necessary for a character like the reporter, recording footage without any idea of what he will say only results in frustration. Time and mental constraints created Coming Soon. I came up with it on impulse and decided it would have a focused scope. We chose a set that was simple and unsettling and filmed 10 minutes of Actor 1 sitting in silence. We rushed it and hoped for the best. The sound guy took a few minutes of television static and turned it into an impressively harsh wall of noise in just 20 minutes. Actor 1 performed well. His random twitches were a nice touch without being over the top. How different would have a Galamao been if we had been better prepared? It's hard to say, but I do know that Coming Soon wouldn't exist, and despite its original status as filler, its absence would have deeply weakened the channel. Coming Soon established discomfort horror as a long-standing theme of Galamao. I'll discuss that later, but boiled down, Coming Soon is true to its name. It was a preview for better work breaching the horizon.
I sat there in a panda mask for about 10 minutes. Shit was uncomfortable, struggling to breathe.
Which hallways? That's that hallway right there.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah,
It's
it's
that
the
hallway.
hallway in the secret filming compound.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Galapao.
Located in We're in Millwood, Tennessee.
It's not true.
Are we gonna talk about sound guys fucking gas as fuck?
Yeah,
Noise
yeah.
track?
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Sometimes you just press buttons in FL Studio and it does it on its own.
I think one thing that Coming Soon still has some relevance to is the fact that the reporter as a character was kind of improvised.
Yeah. I'm sure actor 2 remembers I wore the panda head for a Halloween costume and like it was a long time ago and I just had it sitting around and that blazer I got from Goodwill. And you know, there's my jeans and my little shoesies and he has some Mickey Mouse clothes in here, so I figured I'll just put it together, you know.
That was so long ago when you wore that for the first time.
Yeah, that was like, it was 2 years ago. Maybe, actually longer.
I can't even remember last week.
November 1st, 2020, and it was filmed a few days before that.
So a little over 2 years.
Yeah.
God damn, I'm old.
Dang.
Does that sort of improvised feeling still kind of carry through the channel?
Oh yeah.
But in a good way? Like
I hate these fucking shitheads trying to give me a script. I don't fuck with that shit.
I hope it comes across in a good way.
It's like Scrappy, right?
Heavily influenced by free jazz.
Yes.
That's true. Wind-up comedian stood up so Space Junk could jog or something. When I first pitched the script to Actor 1, he was not impressed. I needed to cajole him a bit to see the vision, but I think his performance was rock solid. He voiced the right meteor, and I voiced the left, but you can barely tell through the impressive vocal filter cooked up by the sound guy. Actor 1 also made the spacey background music. This track was the first original song featured on the channel. It's very catchy while still feeling subdued, equal parts spacey and spaced out. Space Junk did much to establish Agalama's visual identity. We have googly-eyed characters made from ordinary objects, Web 1.0 GIFs given new life as characters or collage elements, blinking eyes, little fellas hiding in the background, and most important, analog video art composing the background. For those who wonder, anytime you see stuff like this, or this, those are combinations of real and simulated analog video synthesizer effects, using both hardware and software emulating hardware. I wanted to incorporate synthesized video art into the channel from the beginning, but it took time for me to feel comfortable putting it out there. It's now integral to the channel's identity.
I actually made the track for Space Junk. Yeah, that was gas.
You also voiced the right most
I did.
rock.
Yeah, I did one of the voices, and
But you, sound guy, made the gravelly filter on the very vague instructions of me saying, make him sound like two big rocks scraping together. You remember that?
Yeah.
I think out of the earlier videos, along with Coming Soon, it portrays more of like the energy that a Galamao I think is going for.
yeah, I have a soft spot for Space Junk too.
Like Popcorn Rock, Downstairs Stare Down began as a freeware edit from 2017. I've had this 2-frame gif of a dancing Tamagotchi, don't ask me which one it is, the only two I know by name are Kuchipachi and Bill, for ages. For this new version, I changed the background to a photo of my own and added the flash effect. It's simple, funny, a little menacing if you're not expecting it. I still like it. No influence
It's
whatsoever.
just
Yeah,
funny.
no one involved
It's
in
just
here.
funny.
It's
It's just funny.
Hilarious.
Dancing up the stairs. Funny.
He moves. He moving though.
He moving.
Yep.
Does anyone remember where that picture was taken?
Oh.
Your dad's house.
No. No.
Why'd you say it like that?
First person in the comments to guess where it was taken wins a fucking car. This one's aged surprisingly well. This was the video where the comedic timing went from okay to great. There's something about the way the droid screams its glitchy gargoyle scream that always catches first-time viewers. The lithium ceiling is still among my favorite effects. I worked hard on that animation and I'm happy it maintains the dreamy quality I intended. Beneath the comedy, the whole scene hangs with vague oppression, like your uncle just said something off at the dinner table and everyone's trying to avoid eye contact. That fine line between humor and discomfort is something I think videos about food are uniquely suited to straddle. There's so much implicit social cognition baked into cooking, eating together, really everything about food. It's one of the reasons food pops up so often in my work.
If we posted this on Twitter now, he'd probably like bomb us.
That's true.
Do you think he has bombs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you mean? Do you think he has bombs?
Every Tesla's a bomb in waiting, bro.
Okay.
What do you think those Tesla batteries are?
Well, what do you think?
It's great. Loki, like it is one of the best videos on the channel to date.
That's impressive. Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? Did you hear that fucking noise?
The noise is really good.
I just think it is one of the most solid videos to date. And I think it's obviously it's relevant.
Yeah, that's true. It's only gotten more relevant.
It's only gotten
That's
more
true.
relevant.
Oh yeah.
I think he's fine. I don't know.
Is she doing okay?
No,
Musk?
no, he's making.
Musk.
He needs therapy.
Let's
Yeah.
get in here.
Listen, Musk.
Musk.
Elon.
Musk.
Elon.
You're doing okay.
Bro.
Please tell me.
Hey,
Dial
Send a
911.
signal.
blink, just
Send a
blink
distress
twice.
signal.
Elon.
We need you
We'll come
to
get
call.
you.
Eon,
We need
Elon.
you to call to us.
I can
Musk.
take a
Just
bus
set
down
up
to
a
San
salt
Francisco
summoning
right
signal
now.
and dial 431
Tesla
on your phone.
headquarters.
And the reporter will show up at midnight
I'll
in
be
your
there.
mailbox. And he'll bring you a nice
I'll
little
be there
gift
with a
full of
gift
potpourri.
basket, and I'll have some potpourri
He
for
will
you.
hold you at night, Musk.
I'll hold you at night, and I'll cuddle you in the day.
That was good. Elon Musk, I know he's a fan. When he sees this, he's going to be really happy.
He is in
Yeah.
fact a
He's
fan.
got to be watching.
Oh, he's a massive fan, dude.
Yeah.
He probably loves that movie.
He's a turf
His
fan.
son's a big metal fan.
Oh my god.
Really something.
That was hilarious, bro. They should make me the writer.
Dude, really?
Who's they?
Here, made a city they and then said, "You should give me your job."
I'm necessarily fond of the true debut of our flagship, but it's tough to rewatch. The editing is choppy, the pacing is rushed, the script could have used more time in the oven, but there's a charm to all the patent growing pains. Despite the issues, what makes this a good start for a gala mail is how brightly our intentions shine through the roughness. It was a great encouragement to hone the formula. There's a lot to like about this episode. The scenes with the morning sun highlighting everything and the lamp that looks photoshopped in looked so striking that they became integral to how I plan, design, and frame a gala mail episodes going forward. That is, I shoot for scenes with a defined, weather-themed color palette and uncanny set design. News writing is everywhere, yet that omnipresence makes its impact implicit. I wanted a gala mail to probe and poke fun at this implicitness. Writing for a gala mail, both for the scripts and for its larger story, has been one of the most rewarding projects I've ever done. Entwining these fun, weird news stories with a larger plot is fulfilling. The slurry of news writing, commercials, science fiction, post-apocalyptic fiction, and horror that make a gala mail runs clear even in this first episode, and I'm happy about that. The elevator pitch of the reporter is that he's a force of chaos permanently employed as a pro-social newscaster in a world made only of the weird parts of ours. These two sides are not mutually exclusive, and neither are fake. Actor 1's debut performance, multiplied by the sound guy's trademark vocal filter, firmly established this complexity, and that makes me so proud of both of them. It should be noted, too, that Actor 1 made both music tracks in Episode 1. The Agala Mail main theme that plays during the story segments has been used in every episode so far.
That's my first favorite episode.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, bro.
It's true.
You can't be saying shit like that.
Is that the one where we broke the thing?
Yeah.
I don't remember what the thing was, but I remember we broke
It's a combination stereo VHS.
It required biscuits.
We broke a Chopin CD too.
Did we break it twice?
We broke something else.
Yeah.
And then we broke that.
Yeah.
We broke a wooden fucking, like, radio or some shit. I don't remember. So if we have footage of that still, we should totally put it up right now. Right here, in front of, like, me talking, right here, right now.
We initially filmed 6 episodes, like the footage for 6 episodes on the same day, before we knew what everything would entail. And that's when we broke the original stereo, which was the wood one.
And they were all going to be pretty short, too.
Yeah.
Like, 1 minute, I believe. Like, not long at all.
I guess I'll ask you first, Actor 1. What do you think about Episode 1? Like, what still sticks in your mind?
Do you mean, like, what sticks in my mind from remembering or watching?
Both.
Okay, remembering the week after of, like, pain in my bed. I fucked up my arm really bad doing that shit. It doesn't look like it, but when that thing bends, like, slightly, that shit hurt. But, no, like, it wasn't, like, it's definitely very choppy. And it's not, like, our best episode. I really like the second and third one a lot more. But no, it does hold like it has a place in my heart because obviously it's like the original, and I was kind of getting a feel for the character and everything like that.
I think it holds up.
I think so.
It's got a certain feel, that feel of like not quite knowing what we were doing, I think adds a lot of like fun to it. You made the song for it, Actor 1.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if it actually ever made it in, but there was like a lightning sample in there. It was like, and you were really apprehensive about putting it in the video because it was really obnoxious.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make something that was super easy listening, and I think I did.
I adored how that was the first time we used that vocal filter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it came out so good.
And he made the vocal.
Thank you.
Yeah, he made
I honestly think that one works so well.
Kind of going for like an old emergency broadcast type thing.
Yeah.
And I think it really came through.
World's on fucking fire, bro. Big skeletons, angry skeletons. I'm fucking pissed. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck technology, bro. I'm so fucking upset, bro. Grr, bro.
New package, new flavor, new formula too.
More food, and so soon, too. Some of these videos came from the strangest places. Back in 2016, I saw donuts at the convenience store that looked too red, like they were plastic, not food. I bought some and wondered what flavor they'd be the whole way home. They were cinnamon. Between the shock of the color and the disappointment of the flavor, I had a donut photo shoot for posterity. Fast forward, and I wanted to make something with those pictures. The memory was still strong, and I wanted to see if I could encapsulate my feelings into a video. To make it feel as much like an advertisement as possible, I wanted to try my hand at more advanced motion graphics than I had ever done before. Although rudimentary, I learned a lot from making these scrolling banners. The poem is purposely sing-song and trite to tie together the themes of short-sighted marketing. For the background, I used footage from a photo shoot I made with Actor 1 and the sound guy's help. They threw open bottles of soap upwards, and then I flash photographed the plummeting soap trails. That gross green stuff is video of two kinds of soap mixed on the concrete. It's meant to evoke digestion alongside the warping donuts. The sound guy tied everything together with a tinny beat that feels as artificial as the fine dining on display. In the Red is an important creative watermark, but I don't return to it often out of embarrassment for my amateurish motion graphics.
The things in front of the camera are donuts. Believe it or not.
They look like ketchup donuts.
They're not. I don't actually know the flavor. Something makes me think it's cinnamon.
Ketchup.
They were cinnamon.
Ketchup.
My dumbass thought they were strawberry.
I never had them. I feel like strawberry donuts would be gas.
I love the song.
I think the song's alright. You could do with a little less goofiness.
It does have a little bit of goof in it, but
I think appropriate.
It's like-
I think appropriate goof.
The subject matter is kind of goofy.
yeah, it's like a weird donut that's like turning into acid.
Yeah, like why?
No teeth needed.
Dead ass.
It's a little scary. I think it's a little scary in how it's got that like goof.
Yeah, whenever I put a donut in my mouth and it turns into acid, that is scary.
That's true.
Whenever I watch that video, all I can think of is trying to eat a donut without teeth, and it's like hell for 80-year-olds.
Yeah, could you
That's
imagine
true.
like trying to like saw it with your gums?
Oh.
That'd be uncomfortable.
Everybody quiet. Thank you. He's smoking around the camera. No, shut the fuck up.
The wind's blowing it that way.
Shut the fuck up. The nature sounds are atmospheric. You gotta be
Does the
quiet.
Gollum Mouse do shit?
This is like gonna be a title bump. Hey, dang it, the light went off. The light. You gotta keep the light closer.
The light went off.
Maybe if it cost more, people would leave it out in the rain.
David Lynch's Rabbits is at the peak of what I call discomfort horror, or horror which scares exclusively through suggestion. This sort of horror probably doesn't land with everyone, certainly less so when not executed well, but it was something I wanted to bring to a gala mail. A gala mail is not analog horror, nor plain horror for that matter. It's not comedy or sci-fi or post-apocalyptic fiction either, but it does use elements of all those genres to accomplish its primary goals of making the audience feel strange and think about their world as more than a string of implicit facts, mundane events, and entertaining media. To this end, the only genre we align ourselves with is slipstream. Whether or not slipstream, a genre that's debatable even when applied in its home realm of literature, can apply to video art and film is a good question. I think it can. You can do your own research on slipstream fiction. For what's relevant to our discussion, one of slipstream's attributes is that it collages multiple genres together. There were many genres I wanted to bring to a gala mail, one of them being discomfort horror, but I didn't know how to achieve this without making the result favor one genre. For the record, I only discovered the slipstream label this year. Our initial intention was simply to make something that took some things we liked, some things we didn't like and wanted to subvert, and then mix it all together with a few original ingredients to make art that did its best to stand out without trying to pretend like it was the only thing under the sun. I didn't realize it at the time, but part of the beauty of a series is that certain parts can be more focused than others. While Galamail's numbered episodes have only doubled down on the experimental collaged elements, having more focused videos in the series to contrast their ever-stretching canvas is integral. Coming Soon paved the way for the rest of the Discomfort horror videos, including Your Forecast. All these videos feature one actor centering the scene. They've gotten more experimental as time has progressed, but not by much. And they don't need to. The Discomfort horror videos add texture to the more vibrant canvas laid out by the rest of the content in the series. And by existing alongside those other videos, they still contribute to that wild whirlpool of genre by standing so starkly apart from their peers. As for how Your Forecast stands out from its peers, it was the first video for which I seriously tweaked my VCR filter. This was necessary because the original version wouldn't work with such a dark video. Part of my preparation when making Pizza on a Stick was developing this filter. I consulted a lot of tutorials and pieced together what I liked best. Although I made a new version for dark video, the filter was still somewhat amateurish. Note the awkward wave warping that occurs in all the early VHS effect videos. This is my replication of the wavy effect old VHS footage can have, but it looks bad. Filter gripes aside, I still like Your Forecast a lot. The shot composition with the hazy light and shadowy angles harshening the background is still one of my best. And Actor 1 gave a wonderfully disconcerting performance.
I was so fucking cold. It was December 12th, 2020, and it was raining out, you know? So imagine rain in December. It's almost ice, and you sit in the rain for 10 minutes.
It's like 50 degrees.
It was like 50 degrees. And it was supposed to be kind of like a mirror to Coming Soon. And I think it turned out pretty well. The turning's a bit awkward, but that kind of works for it, because the reporter's kind of an awkward character.
Can you talk a little bit about the track you made for it?
The track I made. Okay, so we wanted like a dark ambient track. And, I just kind of went ham. Put some reverb on it. The God reverb, as we call it.
Whatever happened to the God reverb? Do we still have that preset saved
It's
somewhere?
on my PC still.
Oh my god.
22, the news leader. Now, live, working for you throughout Western Massachusetts, Barry.
The Miracle Grill. Here's how it works. The water steam grill.
I was sick as hell when making Grill Samurai. Maybe you could tell by my elevated tones. But I'm prone to sinus infections. I did not want to meet the upload schedule. Actor 1, in his attempts to cheer me, suggested we play with Legos. I'll interject here and note that I have a small Lego collection from when I was a kid. Before Grill Samurai, it had been many years since I've even so much as opened the bins they're in. But, dear viewer, when you're sick and tired and the weather's been gloomy for weeks, playing with Legos sounds pretty fun. I agreed, somewhat reluctantly, and Actor 1 suggested we make that week's videos with the Legos. At this point I was down for whatever, so we agreed that we just improv the whole thing and then edit the results into the worst video we could make. Of course, this seemingly simple intention turned into about 12 hours of editing. Turns out making a purposely bad video is pretty damn difficult. Actor 1 and I rediscovered that fact earlier this year when we tried to make a sequel. We shelved the idea after realizing that the original was lightning in a bottle, a precise formula of serendipity that we couldn't replicate, at least not at will. That's all anyone should say about Grill Samurai, ever. Watch it for yourself if you haven't. We promise you'll regret it.
What do you mean, oh no?
Grill Samurai Saga.
No words.
I made a series.
I was not involved in any way.
Yeah, you were. You actually did make the music.
Whether or not you remember it, it happened.
Yep, I have actual footage. Of you listening to Dame Tokosito while you're making the fucking music track, so I don't want to hear it. But, it was alright. It was funnier when we were editing it than me watching it back, but I still giggle. I still get a little gaff in there.
Actor 2 is not affiliated and will never be affiliated with Grill Samurai or any saga that it entails.
Oh, fuck! That's fucking Guy Fieri.
This one's weird. I was in a sour mood, but still trying to get a video out. Me and the rest of the crew were desperate for ideas. Suddenly, I remembered this guy. A Pikachu ball I bought for $1 at a convention a few years ago. We came up with the idea of filming it in front of a faceted green drinking glass, while the sound guy swiveled a flashlight in the background. This naturally raised the question of why Pikachu was in the ball. To answer that question, I asked Actor 1 to imagine that he was the Pikachu. He improvised an existential ramble that still creeps me out. The sound guy's decision to pitch down the voice adds a lot of weirdness. Once he mastered and layered the voice and made the Cathedral of Shadows type beat for the music, all I had to do was match weird effects to the voice track and we had a real oddball of a video. I like Pikachu Sphere, but I try to keep away from it whenever possible. The song gets stuck in my head pretty often, though.
Yo, me?
Unsettling.
It was gas.
I gotta pull this one up.
I kind of forgot, like, how uncomfortable it is.
It's really uncomfortable.
Watching the video again, it made me, I just wanted to throw him the entire time, like the ball.
Yeah, that was me.
And he's giving me these ASMRs.
I hear Thanos every time I listen to Pikachu Sphere.
Oh, sorry. Did I break your mind by speaking to you telepathically? This happens every time I try to have a conversation with someone. It's quite lonely in here.
This was the first Agalamau video for which I worked, and it shows. This video made a splash, which still ripples through the whole channel. Compared to episode 1, we attacked episode 2 with a much smarter plan. In terms of filming, the foremost precedent we set here was finding a way to precisely sync the reporter's body language with his dialogue. In episode 1, the papers actor one had were the script. He did rehearse a little, but mostly his body language was synced by memory and occasional glances at the script. If you ever wondered why there's spikes of slowdown in episode 1, that's why. It was the most fumbled part of our first production. In episode 2, we decided that actor 1 would record his final take of the script in the studio, and then play that recording back through a phone while we filmed each scene. This is still what we do, and because of how precisely the reporter's dialogue needs to be synced with his body language, it works well. Although there was a learning curve with timing that recording. The theming in episode 2 is also much stronger. Nature is the superficial theme of episode 1, but we didn't foreground it much outside of the stories. Episode 2's Christmas theme is much more developed. It even ties into the news theme by referencing the Santa tracker that most local news stations feature. Actor 1's Christmassy track for the ending sequence also complements it. The reporter's characterization in episode 2 is strong. More complexities emerge, partially because actor 1 excelled in the improvised sections. The commercial break also grew by leaps, changing from one awkwardly paced spot into a bona fide video collage stream of consciousness. We all worked harder on episode 2. It taught me not to rush these bigger projects.
Watching episode 2, I wanted to try Bacon Nog. I know it'd probably kill me somehow.
That one was like one of the more, I did the track in quotations. I just like resampled a different Christmas track. I don't know, it was one of the ones that I think was like more improvised. I think it was probably the most improvised one.
I feel like episode 2 was when we both kind of learned that not only a Gallamale is stronger, but also you're just stronger as a performer when you're given more room to breathe. I feel like in episode 1 I was a little bit too specific with the script and the direction to where I didn't really give you an opportunity to kind of shine. But I think episode 2 was a really valuable learning experience for that. And also there was a lot, that table flip with the way that the candle
hits the table.
Yeah, like hits the table. That was something we really only could have done once. Like for how improvised everything was, it went well.
One take.
One take.
One take.
That's all you need. The only thing I remember is laughing my ass off when he went to flip the table and he flipped it completely instead of just on its side.
I pressed it, it clicked.
I don't want to.
Are you recording this?
Yep.
Have you heard of Bacon Dog? It's a byproduct of our finest sister, the Grease Trap Challenge.
Butter makes everything taste better.
The crew's group playthrough of Persona 4 Golden got a lot of the voice clips stuck in my head, so much so that this pun came to me and I knew I had to give it life. So that this video wasn't so simple as splicing dialogue and photoshopping a biscuit, I decided to use it to practice my keyframing. It was good practice, but I realize in hindsight that most viewers probably don't even notice it. But then, isn't that the point of good keyframing? Hours of work to ensure that a scene flows seamlessly instead of sticking?
I love golden brown.
You're on a roll.
Yeah, I'm butter.
Duh.
I would be like turning around like that too if there was 3 fondue fountains.
You remember when I lost my shit keyframing Joker? And I posted in the server at like 4 a.m.?
I do.
I remember.
I do remember that.
I remember one time you keyframed the Persona creation animation for like 5 days or something like that, and you were getting like Igor for the.
Oh yeah, that.
I see.
Oh, I still want to. I'm not gonna be able to finish it for the special, but someday.
See.
You worked so hard on that.
For nothing.
Hold on, I got something to say on that one. When narrator.
Director.
When director was trying to get that Igor clip, we were in the Discord VC while he was doing it for 5 days straight.
No, I remember that because we were also. That was the day. That was like around the time we were playing Fallout New Vegas and Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep.
Oh my god!
Sonic
If I
Adventure
ever
2
have to
was
hear
awesome.
"Escape from the City" one more time. Rolling around at the speed of
It was
sound.
so much fun watching you play. God, what's the quote?
Chad Garden.
Chad Garden. That was Chad Garden.
Dude.
Holy shit.
Wait, did we ever do anything with the Chows?
They're still there, but no, they're just living their
We
life.
need to put them.
We need to check on them.
They're fine.
Suck
I checked
Mario.
them a couple of days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you dead ass?
Yeah, I'm dead ass. I booted up the Chao Garden a couple of days ago because I was bored. They're still doing fine. They don't age when you're not playing.
That'd be crazy if they did.
They just all die.
Yeah, rest in piss, bro.
You know, we already went through the video with the Tamagotchi sprite in it, but where's the sound guy?
Sound guy left.
What? Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
Where'd he go?
Sound guy!
You don't talk about Suck Mario, motherfucker.
No, come on, we gotta talk about Suck Mario.
You don't talk about Suck Mario!
We gotta talk about Suck Mario.
Can we talk about Suck Mario?
What's there to talk about?
It's Suck Mario
It's like
in the
telling
story.
the story.
So I had a Tamagotchi.
It's okay, man.
His name was Suck Mario.
You can cry.
And I forgot to feed him for a few weeks.
Weeks?
And he died. And I cried so hard that I puked on the carpet.
Thank you for your service, King.
Thank you so much.
We miss Suck Mario.
For the attentive viewers who want trivia for their next party, one of our Chao in Sonic Adventure 2, the group playthrough, the Agalamao group playthrough, was named Suck Mario. And actually it was named Suckrio because there's an 8-character limit. And he was named Suckrio in memoriam of the sound guy's dead Chao.
We also had Fuckrio.
I mean dead Tamagotchi.
Also another trivia question. How long did the sound guy, how many weeks was it that the sound guy did not feed Suck Mario? Comment down below.
And make sure you timestamp your answers so we know that you said it first.
Yeah.
All comments have timestamps on them. You don't have to you don't have to write the date yourself.
Don't listen to him.
YouTube does that for you.
Don't listen to him. YouTube is lying.
Write it in the European font. The way the Euros.
He means Times New Roman.
What is this?
Hey.
Halcyon is basically, well, it's hard to communicate to the people.
You know it's a nothing video, and the best thing I have to say about it is that I like the title. Yeah, let's get to the round table.
Why don't I remember this video?
Because
there's nothing to remember.
There's really nothing to remember. It was supposed to be for War and Peace Wednesdays, which we still might do, so I'm not going to spoil too much, but it really never came to fruition, especially afterwards. This was kind of where we didn't stop meeting, but we started like not having as much time.
And also COVID was easing up a bit. Everyone was kind of going back to school.
Yeah, so
that was a difficult time for us. What do you guys remember about that time when like COVID was easing up and we were going back to like school or work or whatever, and we just couldn't meet as often?
It fucking sucked.
Oh, it sucked!
But it was weird, right? Like going from that time during COVID where we're like, let's just hang out like all the time because we didn't really go anywhere else.
Yeah, I stayed at your house for like a week. I remember I almost shit myself like Arma 3.
We went from like hanging out and like collaborating almost every day, at least a little bit, to very little.
Like once, maybe, like a week.
Yeah, once every 2 months.
Basically. And then it's kind of fallen off from there, sadly, just because we're all like
getting busy.
Yeah, we're all getting busy, you know, with school or work or whatever.
College fucking sucks.
Yeah, we're
Preschool.
Yeah, we're all. Oh my God.
I love my teacher.
Fucking destroyed my goddamn.
This video took 9 months of on-off work. The voice line, delivered by the sound guy in Actor 1, was too funny to get canned into a B-grade video. All the extra work ended up honing my synthesized video generation skills, and this video was the first time I paid much attention to masking and layering it. A fun fact about the background music in this video is that it's incidental. That spacey, organ-like voice is present in the original recording. We were goofing off with settings in FL Studio while playing random chords and notes on our practice keyboard. Those notes eventually turned into the ethereal background music. I'd like to return to the UFO and Earth characters at some point. If you're curious about what the Earth is saying, no one knows. No, not even Actor 1.
Oh my God, what a gas video. I think that Wisdom in the World, it's the gold standard.
Gold standard?
Yes. Okay. So here's my thing for the gold standard. It's not like, a gold standard doesn't mean exceedingly good, does it?
That's true.
It just does mean like, it means like, that's what you want to hit. I think Wisdom in the World checks every base that we're trying to hit, you know. It's weird. Is it funny? Yeah, kinda, a little bit. The graphics are beautiful. It's got a bunch of colors in it, and it just kind of, you know, it's short, it's sweet, but I think it gets its point across.
I recently discovered that if you turn on auto-generated titles for Wisdom in the World, it turns "You Ain't Getting Paid, You Ain't Getting Laid" into "Joinkin' Page Lincoln." What are your thoughts on that, director?
Joinkin'. Joinkin'.
I think it's doing numbers. It should be doing numbers, because, you know, it's
actually not doing as many numbers as I thought it would be.
Really?
Not doing numbers.
How many numbers at the...
Only 6 likes.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you ain't getting paid.
Agala fans, comment below if you liked Wisdom in the World, and if you didn't, go fuck yourself.
We don't like you.
Let's go, Jack. I'm red hot. Better be careful how you drive it. The first thing you know, you'll be ice cold.
Your heart opens wide.
This one's fine. It's short, funny, but it doesn't really suit the channel. I left it among the normal catalog because we really knocked down that door. No, really. I should note that we knocked the door down with the intent to use the clip at some point, but not specifically for this video. Always film cool stuff, even if you don't have plans for it at the time.
I think it's out of place, but it's so funny that we can't get rid of it.
Okay, that's fair, that's fair.
Like, personally, and this is humiliating, I laughed so hard when I first saw this video.
It's up to you to make sure our waterways aren't pollution ways.
I was in a moody place when making this one, and it shows. Unlike some later videos which came from similar places, this one's pretty flat. It's fine and I like the vibe, but there's not much going on under the waves, so to speak. Still, it is aesthetically arresting for its short runtime, and the audio and music samples I chose really shine.
I loved the atmosphere on this one. This one was like, you're focusing on a small detail and like a huge photograph, and it's like, oh, look at this little thing over here.
The earthquake raised a subterranean stream.
Now there's a better way to say goodbye to moths. New Moth Proofer.
Among all our videos that heavily sample other IPs, this one is my favorite. Why? I put the most work into it. Between the googly-eyed character, dreamy environment, and synthesized video, I really tried to tie the external references and characters into the world of Agalamau, and I think it works. That synthesized background was actually created by Limitations. I own the real B-Rock. I wanted to feature it in the video, but I didn't want to spend much time cutting it out into a PNG. I keep plenty of green construction paper on hand for this purpose, but the B itself is green. Instead, I used a sheet of orange cloth. The choice worked well, but it left an orange tint on the B. To make this work, I designed a background which matched the tint. It's easy to panic when you feel like you don't have the right tools to work. But limitations can benefit creation just as much as perfect conditions. It's all about mindset.
Congratulations! I'm the best!
Look, Ronald! Mario's mystery block makes him big!
To date, This is the most notable mix of synthetic and analog video on the channel, using emulated footage of Super Mario Bros. 3 alongside camera-recorded footage of the same game played on a real NES. I screwed with the real game's cartridge so it would run glitchy without crashing outright. Getting everything synced up was challenging, but it was fun too. The RGB theme is strong here and showcases what Halcyon CYM could have been. Everything's so cohesive. The pixelated birds, the ending text, the symbolism of one screen moving while another is static. This bumper really stands out. I grew up playing tons of Super Mario Bros. 3 on my hand-me-down NES, so it was great to pay tribute to those experiences.
Pulled by obligation, pushed by expectation.
Community antennas for a town of 2,000 families cut off from good TV.
I like this video more than most of its improvised ilk. I edited unused footage from the Mail Episode 1 shoot, but I didn't rush it. The chopped and screwed music I slapped together actually sounds pretty good here. The transition to the voiceover sample is a favorite of mine. There's a hint toward the reporter's larger story in the title, but this video is mostly made for its own sake.
Delicious creations like shrimp with rice and mushrooms.
Shrimp fries rice is the natural evolution of popcorn rock. They're both punchy, funny, staked on visual puns, but Shrimp Fries Rice takes that base and builds on it with all the identity Galamao developed in the time between. As good as the finished product is, it took a lot of iterating. At first, I was too focused on translating the pun that inspired it, and this focus left everything undercooked. It wasn't until I decided to tell a different story with the basis of the pun that the video became good. Shrimp Fries Rice taught me that translating a written joke into visuals often results in triteness. Like oyster sauce when frying rice, a little imagination goes a long way.
Shrimp fries rice is my favorite video on the channel. Well, you order shrimp fried rice. How the hell did the shrimp fry the rice? Crazy. You know, they don't have legs, they don't have hands. That shit's fucking crazy.
Secretary, you actually gave the initial inspiration for Shrimp Fries Rice, and I appreciate it, because I was in kind of a little bit of a dry spell creatively.
Yeah, well, we were sitting in the VC, or I might have even added you, and we were sitting in the VC, and someone made the, you're telling me a shrimp fried this rice joke? And I was like, holy shit, developer.
Mind blown.
You need to...
Developer, narrator.
You need to make a video of this, because it would be funny. And then he did, and it was fucking glorious.
Kingsman's ready. How do you want your steak? Medium rare.
I wish I could remember exactly how we came up with the idea to burn the mask. What is definite is that Wildfire is the first video that hints at the larger story of Galamao and at the deeper character of the reporter. The continuity of the mask, or is it his head, is an important part of Galamao, and that really started here. Burning the mask went more smoothly than anyone expected, but it smelled really bad. I had an easy time putting the video together because we had so much footage. It was a nice change of pace. As for the imagery, the red-hot static slicing open the sky is a favorite of mine. Why the toilet? My idea was that the reporter just got off a metaphysical bender and is now slouched over a commode. The head toppling face down is one of the best coincidences of the whole channel.
It was originally going to be a lot different. The visual transformation was like a big thing, and it took a lot longer than like it feels like now, but it definitely was probably a month-long kind of endeavor at the end of the day, so it was very fun.
But I honestly just can't believe that we just straight up started burning it. Like, it just happened.
I remember thinking to myself, I hope this shit doesn't fucking go bad, because you can't burn it twice.
Just use your best judgment.
I say let it keep going. It's probably gonna burn out.
Oh no. I was like, it might just burn out, yeah.
I don't know. It looks like the foam caught on fire.
Okay.
You got it, bro. Chill.
Close the door, please.
As easy as Wildfire was to make, I was daunted by figuring out what to do next with the reporter's transformation. I needed a simpler project, so I made this on a whim. This was a fun way to keep the orbs around Galamao. Outside of specials like this one, this is the last video to feature them. Although they no longer have a place among the main videos, I'm thankful for when they did. Serial Experiments Lane has been gaining notoriety over the last couple years, and that makes me happy. If you haven't seen it yet and you're into the more abstruse kind of media, which I assume you are if you're hanging around here, I highly recommend it.
I hate the orbs. Can I say that as a viewer? Can
Yeah.
I, now that I'm standing on this soapbox, can I just say the orbs are so disgusting? Like, imagine being a limbless ball. You don't even have a neck. Your skull, like, what does their bone structure look like? And how do they get around? Aren't they just imprisoned to be still?
I like to imagine that they can roll.
On top of their heads? That's so awful. I really hate them. They're staring at me right now.
Gloom and Bloom innovated the bumper style video by being my most ambitious use of layers and transparency effects up to that point, incorporating shaped synthesized video effects and heavily edited photographs I took of a crabapple tree. It still looks snazzy, and the audio samples really complement the feel. It's a moody video. I made it when I was channeling some pretty major frustration, and I'm glad those feelings stuck into it. You're the only one who has anything to say about Life's Lemon.
I love Life's Lemon.
You have things to say about it?
You know, kids, Life's Lemon's great.
The original video that I found was a video on Discord of Sonic eating a lemon.
Yeah, that because it spawned off of that. Because I thought the sound was funny as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I was laughing my ass off for like 20 minutes, and then you showed the clip from Pop Team Epic, and then we on the spot we're just like, let's fucking put them together.
And that's 50 seconds on an unlisted 4-second video.
Now we've sworn a mortal oath.
In good company, the afternoon passes quickly.
This video is a last-minute panic product. It might be one of the most rushed videos on the channel, but you wouldn't know it by watching. I took a last-minute idea and turned it into one of my favorite one-offs. Meguro's name entry is such a fantastic song, and it really inspired me. I like the frame effect a lot. I'd like to revisit that idea sometime soon. The whole video is fogged with this weird, dreamy melancholy, and I love that. Those are the vibes that I want to give form to, but it's hard to do. Yet this little video does it so well. Man, I love Departure.
I enjoy Departure.
I love Departure.
Reggie
He
F.
says, is it Reggie?
It's Reggie. It's Big Crushed Reggie.
I love Reggie.
Really?
A crisp, noisy potato chip potato.
This was another spur-of-the-moment idea, but I don't think it's as strong as Departure. Still good, though. Cool visuals, relaxed pacing, not much to say here. Green paper is useful for this kind of stuff. If you want to make cool backgrounds for small scenes, use green paper. Yeah. If I had to change something about Midnight Snack, I might have used a slightly less oblong potato.
It was one of my favorite non-Agala male videos on the channel so far. It was just so crispy. Like it came out so good. The sound on the chip bag was really good.
I'm going to take this
False
opportunity to
advertising.
talk a little bit about the theme of eyes. What do we all think about that?
That you can see. It's cool. Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of like eye stuff and like I hate to compare it.
You can compare it.
This is completely out of left fucking field. I enjoy Bloodborne very much, and there's a lot of eyes, and it deals with like eldritch, like cosmic stuff. So I think like, I don't know, maybe there's something like below the fold. But I like it. It's like a nice motif.
I think the eyes are interesting. It's definitely a reference to the Illuminati, I think. Right,
Secret.
director?
The setting of a Gallamale especially, I think, like the boiling oil cult.
Boiling
episode
oil?
3, I would say so. You know, there's a little bit of like poking fun and like kind of riffing on like conspiracy theories and like secret society type stuff. So
I think it's honestly like it's one of our minor themes. It's just conspiracy in general.
that's true, yeah. There's something in every video that's kind of conspiring against the viewer. Most of the videos, even if they're pretty happy or funny, they have like some sort of like something that's just wrong with them.
They're at least watching.
Yeah.
And they see you.
I've been waiting for this.
This video might be the most I've ever laughed at my own work, I shit you not. Those of you who aren't familiar with the source material might be confused about why this guy's doing that. It's not what it looks like, I assure you. Combine this point of potential confusion with the minor editing and wholly unoriginal sources, and yeah, this video went straight into the Gallimaufry.
It's a good video, but it's not a Gallimau.
That's it, you know what? Say no more, say less.
You're just some addict living in trash. You're just like an addict. You're like fiberglass. When I touch you, it's like, ah!
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
Deer in the Limelight stemmed from serendipity. Long story short, on the way back from visiting the grave of a loved one, I found an albino deer. No, legit. The reason the deer looks so grainy is because I recorded it with my cell phone. This encounter, combined with the rest of the day, produced a beautiful mental thunderstorm that poured into several creations, Deer in the Limelight included. All my bumpers take cues from the greats, aka 60% Adult Swim Golden Age bumpers and 40% other inspo. But this video is my attempt to really channel that Adult Swim style. This bumper especially inspired me. Arranging all the elements just so was a wonderful learning experience. It took a lot of trial and error. I was flipping through my graphic design books every other minute. Timing everything to the sound guy's standout track was also a fun challenge. The finished product is a concerted expression of everything I felt when making it. Fun fact, a new version of this video, with more polished graphics and different sampled music, was the second video of mine featured in a publication outside of YouTube. If you're wondering, Square Deal was the first to be published, but we'll get to that soon.
Deer in the Limelight?
Deer in the Limelight's really cool.
It is actually, like, I think it's a very well executed idea.
That's a good ass track. Probably one of the better tracks I've made for this channel.
I would say so.
Even if I did not have any, like, real input or involvement at all, I think it is one of the most, like, solid and smooth videos up.
I'm glad.
Out of all the, like, more atmospheric videos for a Gallimau, I use that word a lot because a lot of it is just atmosphere. It's just so big on the atmosphere, so big. I would see that in a dream on a TV channel. It felt so real in another world.
That's what we're going for. Dream TV channels.
And there it comes, slowly descending. Listen to the roar now.
Old Year's Eve has a big story behind its production, but most of that will be covered in the roundtable. What isn't directly addressed there is that the red glow was produced with fireworks, specifically a mortar tube. We accomplished this with no extra help. I set the camera on a tripod and adjusted the settings with the help of a bright flashlight. Actors 1 and 2 worked out their poses in the meantime, and then once everything was set, I left the camera filming and lit a mortar about 50 feet behind us. Rinse and repeat with some scenes in the darkness for good measure, and that's that. We tried to film a similar video on New Year's Eve of 2020. Everything went well enough, except for the fact that I forgot to press record. We had only one mortar shell at that time, so that was it. I was bummed about my fumble for weeks, but in hindsight, I'm glad that it happened. There's no way that original would have been this good. Foremost, that first version would have been absent a certain fresh face. The decision to add a new major character was a long time coming. The reporter is a compelling character alone, but even from the beginning, a lone newscaster didn't feel right. News anchors have worked in publicized teams shortly after broadcasting was televised. Adding a weather reporter was a natural decision. Very little of the forecaster's character or role in the story is intimated here, so I'll save that for later. For now, I'll go over one of my goals when developing the character. There's tons of ways to make a character uncanny. I devised one way from the Kiki and Booba effect. I swear it's real. For those unfamiliar, the gist is that most people, even across different cultures, seem to non-arbitrarily associate the left, jagged shape with the nonsense word Kiki, and the right, blobby shape with the nonsense word Booba. This effect has a lot to do with the reporter and the forecaster. If there really is implicit meaning in shapes and words like these, then I think there's also a lot of potential for weirdness in subverting that meaning. The conceit is that the reporter, with his mascot-inspired look and sometimes awkward mannerisms, is aesthetically more like a booba, yet that appearance contrasts with his booming voice and violent tendencies, sharper traits that more resemble a kiki. To contrast, the forecaster acts more calculated and has a costume more in line with traditional horror tropes, yet he's comparatively calm and soft-spoken. He hasn't spoken yet, so you have to take my word for that last bit. In other words, he looks like a kiki, yet has the personality of a booba. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I realize this part sounds a little goofy, but you get it. I think these sorts of contradictory characters make people uncomfortable, even if they don't realize why. And Gallimau is all about investigating the implicit, and that goal even extends to its character design.
Oh my god. This is actually not the first time we tried to film this, and this is 2 more examples of the director throwing safety to the wayside.
Harm's way.
The first time we filmed this, it was actually a lot scarier, because I stood right in front of the mortar.
Right
and
there.
at probably 20 feet. And if that thing had tipped over, my ass would have been blasted.
Grass.
You know?
Grass.
It was I think I still have nightmares about it, low-key. But no, the actual uploaded one, I think, was a lot more tame, and I think I enjoyed filming that one a lot.
I did too.
Yeah, no, that was very
so much fun, actually.
And we got to kind of work with our resources. That one we could not have shot another time.
When we went in to watch the footage, it was so exciting to see it on video because I knew it would be turned into something great. And I do think it was turned into something great.
Yeah, and I think that's our best use of practical effects.
Do you both think that it was a good introduction for the forecaster?
Yes.
I think it was a pretty freaking good introduction. I think we did it. I think we executed it very well because it's kind of dark. Can't really see him. He's wearing some kind of hat. What?
And it also kind of represents that contrast with both the forecaster and the reporter, as it goes from very dark, the reporter, to very light, and then back again. So it's kind of like 2 opposing forces kind of fighting over dominance of the camera.
It was really fun to
Yeah.
shoot all that with the flashlights running around and figuring out how and where to place everything.
Not having enough hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
If anyone wants, viewers, send us.
Hands.
We'll make you hands.
Mail yourself?
You can be the second secretary.
I don't like how my skin feels on my body. Do you like how your skin feels on your body?
Worms in the walls.
Worms in the walls, ants in your skin.
Ants on the
Take
skin.
off your skin.
Will the worms eat the ants, or will the ants eat the
Take
worms?
off your skin. For such a spur-of-the-moment project, this video is really elevated by its voice work. Actor 1, literally, has the spotlight, but don't sleep on my Goosick cat voice. Or is it Goosick? Goosick? The sound guy's vocal filter really elevated that half-taunting, half-out-to-lunch vibe. And the gentle reverb and panning? So good. The comedic timing is also solid, among the best in the catalog. Wondering why this video and Square Deal were uploaded on the same day? That's because they were originally uploaded in 2021. However, YouTube automatically converted them into shorts because of their square aspect ratios. I guess square is close enough to vertical, huh? Pizza on a Stick was affected too, but obviously I couldn't re-upload our debut video. I was pissed though, and I decided to re-upload If Then and Square Deal more out of spite than anything.
It was definitely my most heartfelt, I think. That took all my emotion. I was actually legitimately crying.
Yeah.
And this is, once again, another exploit by the director.
Method acting.
Method acting.
To put a picture of the Joker on screen.
Insert Joker.
Method acting.
What do you think about the fact that we had to re-upload If Then because YouTube got its grubby nubs
Yeah,
on
fuck YouTube Shorts. Oh God!
Oh God, the only shorts I need are pants.
No.
It's so sad Steve Jobs died of ligma.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
Ligma balls.
Square Deal's a favorite of mine. Before Deer in the Limelight, this was the first video of mine to be featured in a real publication. While I don't know the full story, I heard on good authority that the only reason Square Deal got published is because one editor saw something in it and fought for its inclusion tooth and nail. Although I never met this person, I'm thankful. As far as I know, this is the first time someone who knew nothing about me responded so positively to my work. It let me know that what I and the rest of the crew create for Gallimel really can resonate with strangers, and that's encouraging. As for the video itself, it had humble beginnings. Years ago, when I was looking around a burn pile for cool stuff to photograph, I was drawn to the interplay of the manufactured symmetry of a burnt bed spring with the ash below it. I photographed this for a while, when suddenly I had an idea. I was taking apart an old computer of mine around the same time, and for some reason, I wanted to take an old processor from that computer and put it in the center of the bed spring. I don't know why, but I did, and I'm glad I did. These photos would become Square Deal.
Now, direct from the future now.
Actor 1 and I went all out on this one, and it shows. Discussing Actor 1's performance first, I think it's his best. Expressive body language that accounts for the personality shift of the burnt reporter works in tandem with a charismatic, menacing vocal performance to create the best expression of the reporter yet. This episode is when the character really came alive. Episode 3 was my first attempt to seriously start connecting dots in the larger plot. Every story calls back to other videos on the channel in some way, and there are tons of nitpicky references too, like the reuse of the same red static effect first seen in Wildfire. Tarot symbology is a recurring theme in my writing, and I'm proud of how effortlessly those themes exist in episode 3. Everything, from the way the commercial break features the reporter through imagery or outright, to the fact that the desk ornament is a sponsored product instead of a character, to the Virtual Boy looking ending with that meticulously warped music sample, was done with intention. And for the first time, that meticulous intention of mine had a larger purpose behind it. Episode 3 also featured a graphical overhaul. It features the newest version of my VHS filter. Gone are those ugly waves. But most notable are the story pictures. Not only do they improve the pacing and further concretize the weird world of a Golem mail, but such graphics are also a mainstay of news programming. I wish I'd included them from the beginning. Compared to the rest of the catalog, I put the most time into episode 3 and it's not even close. It's the current bar for a Golem mail. It's gonna be tough to surpass it with episode 4, but we're nothing if not resolute.
God, my favorite Golem Mail episode by far. The editing, oh my god. Ooh, the commercial break blends into the episode, as you may have seen. It's the first time that we kind of slam the two together. It's a new reporter, fire, a lot of it.
Talking about endangering.
Everything in the channel kind of coming together in a sort of hodgepodge, but a polished hodgepodge.
Polished podge.
It was what I wanted out of the episode, but it's definitely not what I expected. It felt a lot different during filming than it did watching it back. Like, I didn't feel like I actually did any of that stuff. That little hand thing at the end of episode 3 with before it zoomed in the TV, I have no idea. I have no recollection of doing any of that. But you know what? I think a Golem Mail episode 3 is not just solid.
It's liquid.
It's hard. It is gas. It is gas.
Can I say that I really like the outro on that one? I really like the red and black going into the birds. I think it was a good stepping stone. I think it rolls into the forecaster pretty good. It's something really, really just funny in the episode that I've thought about multiple times now, actually. Who in the right mind would replace corn syrup with glue syrup, with concrete syrup? Why would that happen? Who would do that? Who would think that's a good idea? Why are there glue lobbyists? Why are there concrete lobbyists? Why is that happening?
You know what? I think this is the right time. You mentioned her earlier. I would like to give a warm shout out to my bearded dragon, Wraith, who passed away a few years ago. She was the inspiration for the Bearded Dragon Honorary Committee, and she was our really good friend and companion through that whole first year of filming.
She was like one of these, like, I don't see myself as a reptile person, but she was definitely one of the sweetest beings I've ever met. It sounds weird, but she was a really good friend and was always there and was always super supportive for all of us and always would shit on our shoulders.
It's true.
She was just the sweetest fucking thing. So
shout out Ray. We love Ray.
Eight years of snow, 8 years of rain, 8 years of days in the 90s.
Your report is an obvious vamp on your forecast. My intention, besides taking another stab at that video's themes and style with my new experience, was to establish the dichotomy between the reporter and the forecaster. On my end, this was achieved mostly in the shot composition. The stark, sandy foreground with the deep green trees near the horizon is at once a strong contrast with the original and suggestive of the forecaster's character. Makes you wonder why episode 3's color palette was so green. Mix all this with some sparse but very impactful editing and you'd already have a strong video. But your report was very much a team effort. Actor 2 toiled to establish the forecaster's character despite the lack of dialogue, and he succeeded. The forecaster is at once outgoing and unsettling here. There's some creepy salesman vibes in this performance, an overfamiliar figure that's unnerving in the context of the scene, yet doesn't seem particularly malicious. I like that this first extended performance of the forecaster leaves so much ambiguity as to his intentions and place in the story. The ambient track cooked up by the sound guy is among my favorites of his discography. It's relentlessly creepy, and it was fun to add some swelling static to accompany it. Not coincidentally, that staticky voice is the same sample that played backwards near the end of the commercial break in episode 3. Even Actor 1 played a role in the production, insisting on throwing a golf club at the empty chair until it landed on target, thus producing the opening shot in which the chair appears to jump. Your Report is a solid video and one of the best examples of the crew's collaborative powers.
One thing about Your Report, that mug that I was using, it had Abraham Lincoln's face on it, and I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. I was smiling that whole time because I was holding that Abe Lincoln mug. Your Report has a really good effect in it at the end, I think. I really love when I don't know how to describe it.
It's meant to be like a second forecaster, like a projection of him, splits off.
He splits off, yeah. I think it ended up looking really good for the video, and I like how you included my little wave at the end. That was funny. I like that. And I think that added character. That was good. That was forecaster mode. That was good.
I think it's a good watermark, too, because it's so similar to Your Forecast. I'd like to hear what you think about Your Report as compared to Your Forecast. Like, how do you see them operating as a dichotomy? And specifically, what do you think that represents in terms of the dichotomy between the reporter and the forecaster?
It works really well, especially compared to like the light and day. It works like a yin and yang almost kind of deal, where I think the reporter is more chaotic and fitting of that dark feel, whereas the forecaster is more, I think,
restrained,
mm-hmm. More formal, I'd say, than the reporter. But I think the only thing that both really share is kind of like a deep connection, not with nature, but like the world kind of around them.
The air is dry. We're all very thirsty.
Because I believe there's more to life than news, weather, and sports.
Actor 1 drew the reporter that's on the thumbnail. I like this take on him. Good mix of creepy and offbeat. Casual Friday was a spur-of-the-moment endeavor by Actor 1, Actor 2, and me. Basically, we walked up and down a street and filmed it. Actor 2 held the light, Actor 1 improvised, and I filmed. Our original intention was to use the improvised performance, dialogue included, without much editing. Once we realized how hard it would be to apply the vocal filter to that audio, though, we decided against it. As a result, the footage was shelved for a while. Eventually, I decided to Frankenstein what we filmed into something. The difficulty of editing the slapdash footage informed the tone of the result. Partway through editing, I decided to incorporate a poem I was writing into the video. While this poem could have used more time in the oven, I like what it offers to the video and to the larger story of Agalamail. One aspect I've noticed after 2 years of making videos is the importance of creative intersection. A few months ago, I converted the script I wrote for the forthcoming Agalamail episode 4 into a short story. As my revisions piled up, I noticed a trend. Each one got shorter, more concise. I discovered that translating the reporter's at times rambling dialogue one-to-one from script to prose just doesn't work. But why? I assumed that, because my writing for Agalamail already has literary qualities, turning that script into prose would be simple. But episodes of Agalamail have a lot propping up that script. Acting, music, editing, shot composition, and perhaps most drastically, the deluge of video collage in the commercial breaks. All those factors stack up into strong scaffolding, but short stories don't have those factors. I had to work out other methods to, say, characterize the reporter. I spent many sentences developing his interiority. The videos reference the reporter's interiority, but outside of Actor 1's performance, none of those references are concrete. Although it seems obvious in hindsight, this was a big lesson to learn. It's valuable to examine how your interests and creations fit together. I think it's easy to think of oneself as a monolith because, well, it's all coming from the same source, right? Don't be afraid to mix two things the autopilot part of your brain would never dream of mixing, or to crack open your creative process and see what implicit patterns are humming away in there.
It's one of the creepier videos on the channel right now.
This is the introduction of the album to the channel. Walking down a street, walking through a city, kind of escaping these sorts of trappings of modern life that are made into monsters was the whole conceit of it. Do you think that that captures it?
Yeah, I mean, I would, I think so. I think it does give, like, that kind of feel, like, once again, moving towards, like, industrial stuff. That album especially was themed around entirely industrial things. And I think it is just a fit because, you know, it is talking about a brass head and just like the general atmosphere of the album, yes.
You know what?
Don't worry.
You know what?
Don't worry.
I'm out!
The worms!
You find escalators everywhere these days, and we take them for granted.
Escalator is a strong bumper with striking graphics. It was derived from a collage I made about 1.5 years ago. I liked that collage and thought I could repurpose some of its elements into a video. The background layer of water was inspired by another end of the bridge, and the ending screen is a fresh revision of a graphic I made about a year ago. I don't have more to say. I think Escalator speaks for itself.
I think there's a lot of lore behind Agala Mail, implied lore anyway, that it's like, well, who is this guy? Is he the panda head, or is he a guy under the panda head, etc.? Are there more than one of him? Why is his head burning? What happens to his head? Why does it get burnt and then he doesn't get a new head? Are you going to talk about that?
I never want to address it too directly. I don't want to spoil the mystery. Whatever the last episode ends up being, I still want to leave some questions because I feel like once you have too much closure or too much information about it, it stops being weird, and that's about the last thing I want to do. But I will say that there's going to be more videos like Casual Friday, where even if it's not spelling out the lore and the background information, it's still there.
It's laden with hints.
Yeah, and it's a lot more direct than something like trying to follow and make sense of the implications of the commercial breaks. This was the first video to feature the animator's work. She drew and animated the dog. Hop to It was a much needed refresher from a bout of more serious videos. I never want to neglect the flavor of levity unique to Agalamau. I had fun with this editing. Mixing one of my photographs with a new take on the synthesized galaxy background we've seen earlier on the channel makes for an engaging transition. It was fun to arrange the music samples and sound effects. And most importantly, I think the video's theme is strong. The whole thing is emblazoned with this sardonic mix of cheer and melancholy that lets it stand with departure as my favorite videos of this style.
I mean, he's just a little guy. You can show his true form, maybe now. And when you look at him, you see how he's quite rotundous. And I just said, wow, I can draw that. I can make that even rounder. Why are so many of your videos in space? Are you a big space fanatic?
No, not really. I was into science when I was younger in the most superficial sense, but once I turned about 9 and I realized that studying science took a lot of hard work that I wasn't good at, I'm like, nah. But I do like it from an aesthetic perspective, even though it's way above my pay grade and is actually pretty terrifying to me. I would not want to be in space, but I think it's pretty.
True. I mean, I guess space is kind of like the ultimate dream or weird abandoned alley at an anime convention.
That's true, yeah. I mean, space is the ultimate liminal space because all it is transition.
Literally has space in the name. Yeah, it's a transition to what, though?
Nothing.
To nothing?
That's why it's the ultimate. I think there's also some overlap, too, with space, specifically the motifs that I focus on and stuff like static.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of the first conclusions or connections I drew with space junk.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's a few reasons.
Another question. What is he doing? What's his actual journey? He boyoyoings into a glowing portal and then he's in space. What do you think his, journey is? What do you think's happening to him?
He's probably gonna die. I don't know.
So he just sees a portal and then uses his ability to jump through it, and then he regrets it?
He doesn't really regret it.
Okay.
When he goes through the portal, he looks happier.
He doesn't have the capacity for regret. So really, he's gonna die up here is what you're saying. So he'll never be in another video because he's dead now.
Probably. I guess he could get lucky and go into another portal. This seems like the sort of character where luck has gotten him pretty far already. So maybe he's got faith in the system.
That's true. I mean, I guess all dogs' luck has got them far, kind of. Because it's well, how did you end up in this position where somebody feeds you and loves you and you're just a wild animal?
I'll tell you what I'd do if I still had that little dog. You wanna know what I'd do?
What?
Head out to Ventura, cook up a little match. God, that little dog could bear down. There's a lot of money in dog fighting. Big money.
The Eye Has It took production cues from Midnight Snack, but took way more production. Between the hands, rocks, the burger, even that real Decorabia doll that sneaks in for a few frames, putting all these assets together was a challenge. The animator not only drew Decorabia, she made the doll and voiced him too. To match the video collage vomit aesthetic of the rest of the video, I layered cuts of a collage over Decorabia's different frames. Incidentally, Actor 1, Actor 2, and I worked together to make that collage for a different forthcoming project. The sound guy provided the music. The weird, cheery synth voices fit the vibe like a glove. The Eye Has It has some of the best comedic timing on the channel. It's a treat to rewatch and stands out from the rest of the catalog.
Oh, yes.
Burger.
Yes.
Teens Burger.
I really like that video. It's up with the favorite ones.
Yes.
I really like that video.
S tier video.
The voice acting, great. The burger, I actually watched that video a bunch of times just because I laugh at the burger part.
I think we should all give a very special shout out to Mr. Mason Lindroth.
Brandon.
Because I would not have come up with the idea for those gloves from the viewer's perspective
Without
if it
Hilux.
weren't for Hilux, yeah.
We
Wayne.
fucking love Hilux.
We are Wayne Hilux fans.
Hilux is amazing.
During the summer of 2021, we all had a fantastic time
Oh, yes.
playing through Hilux 2. And I feel like that kind of inspired all of us in different ways.
For sure.
And yeah, we're just thankful. Thank you, Mason. And
Thank you,
Chuck.
thank you, Mason and
Brandon
Chuck.
Linden.
He's never going to watch it.
Bro,
But
Chuck, if you're listening, bro,
Chuck
I
Salamone.
appreciate you not mentioning the fact that I misspelled leitmotif in our DMs. But I appreciate you humoring me and continuing to talk with me.
Two excellent fellows.
Two excellent fellows. Mason, I still haven't gotten a response.
Objection!
Hold it!
For the messages you can't afford to miss.
One thing about the series and sub-themes of Agalamau is that I never want to wear them out. Lately, at least, I try to make every video push the limits. To that intention, Rip Van Winkle will probably be the last discomfort horror on the channel, at least for a long while. It's interesting that the current capstone on this type of video is something so placid, at least compared to the rest of its kin, but that's on purpose. I ran out of ways to amp up the tension, so the natural conclusion to me was to make something more peaceful, yet still kind of foggy with anxiety. It also seems right that both the reporter and the forecaster would get 2 videos each in this style. Initially incidentally, but eventually intentionally, these videos form a narrative curve. We start in an enclosed space with the reporter, then we go outside in the middle of the night, it's raining, and despite the setting, the shot is still claustrophobic. The forecaster then meets the reporter in the middle here, starting outside instead of inside. The forecaster's version is in the daytime, the environment is sunny and dry, and importantly, open. And then we end with Rip Van Winkle. It's claustrophobic, but still set outdoors. And instead of featuring music or even pronounced noise, the only audio is ambient noise and the swelling repetitive dialogue samples. Like Casual Friday, I need to add subtitles to this one. For now, I can say that Noam Chomsky's colorless green ideas sleep furiously sentence inspired much of this video. Without diving too deeply into the stuff I want viewers to discover themselves, I'd been trying to find a way to incorporate nature into the forecaster's conclusion to the discomfort horror series. Late night YouTube surfing when I should have been working turned up Chomsky's famous sentence. My concern and inspiration came from the poeticism of Chomsky's sentence rather than its linguistic implications. I think it entwines gracefully with the dormant green screen slowly waking up. All these factors make Rip Van Winkle among our most thematically cohesive videos.
About halfway through the video, you can see it. A twig snapped behind me. I was actually laying on that twig the whole time.
It was good timing, though. It gave a little bit of ambiance.
It looked good, but it hurt my back a little bit. And those are just the sacrifices you have to take as a actor sometimes.
Literally every actor gets harmed in all of these videos.
Yeah, it's not the safest, but it's fine. You can hear it in the video, too. Someone actually walks by in the middle of us doing it, and I think you can hear their footsteps. Just barely.
Were they not kind of looking over
Oh, they were like, what the fuck are these people doing?
I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, they were looking at us. I was trying not to look at them because two people walked past. There was an older man and an older lady separately. And they were like, what the fuck's going on?
has two compound eyes with thousands of lenses in there.
This video is inspired by a dream the animator had a few months ago. I kept returning to the idea, trying to make it into a video, but I never got far. Eventually, I made it workable, but the result barely resembles the inspiration. Looking back, there's been a lot of times in my life where an inspiration wound and frayed to the point of unrecognizability. Yet I know what traces of the inspiration linger in the result, even as an outside observer might not. It makes me wonder about the creative lineage of every work in the world, how they all mutate and mold each other. That sort of thinking just fascinates me. Ironically, it's inspiring in itself.
Do you think that having the label is helpful to you or to other people? Because like now that you understand the slipstream as a budding genre, does understanding the principles that make it work kind of help you understand what makes the videos work? Do you think that it'll change how you go into writing and even creating the visuals of videos in the future?
I would say yes and yes, in that I think it does help me kind of look back and figure out what didn't work and why. And I think in terms of how it's going to affect the channel, I mean, a lot. Because I have that sort of grounding term without sacrificing weirdness and the broader scope of the channel, I think it's going to help a lot. Not just in making weirder writing and weirder situations, but also in doing it quicker, which is good because there's been 3 episodes of a Gala Mail in 2 1/3 years, so that's not a great pace.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
Food Desert was inspired by a collage which the animator and I made. This makes it unique in that the collage used for the thumbnail came before the video, instead of after. The second inspiration for this video stemmed from an old note of mine. That note is quoted almost wholesale in the ending text. Journaling, either in a more proper format or in the scattered notes and paper scraps that I leave around, is invaluable for creators. I can't overstate how cool it is that I can dig through my notes and build on some old idea from like 2015. Letting ideas rest like this instead of trashing them when they aren't immediately actionable is a great resource. It's like compounding interest. Although a Galamao is usually subtler, I like these more in-your-face works just as much. Really punk.
Food Desert's funny because it's like Thanksgiving, but not Thanksgiving because it's really funny. And so then they're like,
what he said. That is the secretary.
You know
Exactly
what
he said.
I think we can close on that.
Both me and the sound guy have been the director's pawns for, about 2 years now.
Keep it positive.
And while I do rag on it, it has been a very, very positive experience. And I think that it has brought us, we are a friend group, both in and outside of the channel, obviously. And how much work goes into this. I do think it has brought us closer together and not given us a reason to hang out, but definitely given us all something kind of in common to work towards. It is just like perfect in the name of a Galamao, as it is kind of a just mishmash of all of our ideas that come out. And whether you like it or you don't like it, it's there. And if you don't like it, fuck you. I don't like you. I hope your ex-wife sues you for alimony. So, good night, folks.
I've enjoyed our time. I think we're pretty close to getting a Dollar Shave Club sponsor. I'm in talks with Blue Chew right now. Yeah, but it's been a lot of fun. For real. Yeah. That's about it. I had fun, that's what matters.
That's true.
I've really enjoyed working on this little channel. I can't wait to work on it in the future. I just can't wait to see what we get up to in the future, really. I think as we go on, with time, all of our videos, with experience, they keep on getting better. Like, if you sort the videos by age, all the best ones are the newest ones, in my opinion. Because with things like this, you just keep growing. You grow with experience, and you get better at it. And even if that doesn't bring in more people watching or anything similar, it feels better. It feels better to make something so nice. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
quite a big fan of Agawamel. I've obviously followed it ever since it started. Never really became kind of a pawn for the developer ever since, Rip Van Winkle. Like, that's where I was actually hands-on, so I really enjoyed that, and I really want to be more hands-on from this point going forward. And I'm really excited to see the different things we do. I think, as a whole, my favorite thing about Agawamel is our different episodes we do. I love the horror aspect of it and the questions that we can ponder up for the different videos that we create. I think it's going to be pretty badass.
My ending question for you. You have to answer this quickly without thinking. I have a series of questions that I'm going to come up with as I ask them and just answer them off the top of your head, no thinking. Best video. No, you're thinking.
Shit.
Best video, hurry!
Agawamel episode 3.
Worst video. Hurry!
Life's Lemon.
Best teammate.
All of them. I can't choose.
No, you have to choose one.
I can't.
That's like the funny part.
If it's a thing where it's like you have to choose one and the rest die, they're all dying.
Wow, that's awful. You should just choose the youngest one so that the rest live on. If, like, Matthew McConaughey came and he was like, hey, I'm a big fan. I would like to star as the reporter for one episode. Would you let him?
If I worked it out with actor 1 first, and we came up with something creative, otherwise, no. He can't play the reporter.
But he's saying please, and he was, like, on his knees crying. And he had terminal cancer.
I'd still phone up actor 1.
That is so mean. You wouldn't grant this dying man his last wish.
I mean, I'm sure we would work out something. Like, if I told actor 1, hey, McConaughey's down here, and he's got cancer, and he really wants to play the reporter, I'm sure reporter 1... Actor 1 would say...
Reporter 1, spoiler!
We'll work something out.
Spoiler for episode 4, we just got a little hint there.
Alright, everyone get a year 2. Ready?
What?
1,
2, 3.
Year
2, baby! Let's fucking go!
We just really scared my cat.